Rage baiting your conservative family members over the holidays is a terrible idea. Do this instead. It's not enough to be right, you also have to be persuasive. This is why rage baiting is a terrible way to get your message across. Rage baiting triggers a psychological barrier between you and the person who you're trying to convince. So when you're talking to your MAGA family members, instead of saying America was never great, ask them, when do you think America was great? If they really want to make America great again, surely they're imagining a time when America was greater than it is today. More often than not, the time period they're going to tell you is the 1950s and early 1960s, and this is a terrific opportunity to persuade rather than to berate. You're going to say, me too, I wish America could go back to the way it was in the 1950s. This is probably going to confuse them because the reasons that they're thinking about are probably different than the ones that they're used to you talking about. But that gives you an opportunity to explain why the 1950s were so good, and it had nothing to do with the fact that black people and white people were drinking from different water fountains. You can say things like, I really liked how in the 1950s it felt like everyone had a shot at the American dream, at getting their own house, owning their own land, imagining a future that was brighter than their past. This is probably something they'll readily agree to. Talk about how the 1950s were a time of American prosperity, when it really felt like America was living up to what it promised its citizens. Then talk about how it was doing that. Because the truth is that America was most prosperous at the single moment in history where it most resembled one of those scary, socialist European countries. The late 1940s and early 1950s represented massive public investments into things conservatives today would consider socialist policies. Public lands, public infrastructure, public housing, an interstate highway system that connected every city in America to every other city, cheap housing loans for veterans of World War II who were looking to settle down and start a family. And all of this paid for by massive taxes on the wealthiest Americans. That's the part you leave out until the very end. Talk about American jobs, values, prosperity. Talk about how in the 1950s it really felt like America's future was going to be so much brighter than its past. And then say this, we were able to build that because we stopped giving handouts to coastal elites. Don't say billionaires, don't say higher taxes. Let that sentence sit in their brain and start to go to work. Then let them ask you the questions. Well, what do you mean by that? That's your opportunity to talk about the New Deal and the effect that it had on the American economy within the next 2 decades. It's your opportunity to draw a direct line from their current feelings of insecurity to their feeling of nostalgia about a past, which was the direct result of socialist policymaking.